There is a truth so profound, so quietly woven into the fabric of your daily life, that most people never notice it. You wake up each morning believing that you are responding to a world already formed, already fixed, already determined by forces outside of you. Yet what if I told you that every single thought, every word you release into the air, every expectation you secretly carry in your heart, is not just a passive reflection of reality, but the very code that builds it? Imagine for a moment that life is not chaos, not luck, not a random shuffle of circumstance, but a game. A cosmic game with precise, mathematical rules. Rules so constant, so unfailing, that they make the law of gravity look uncertain by comparison. Yet here is the catch. While you have been playing this game since the moment you could think, no one handed you the instruction manual. You've been moving pieces on an invisible board, activating laws you never knew existed, creating results you thought were accidental, when in fact they were inevitable. This was the radical discovery of a woman named Florence Scovel Shinn. She dared to suggest that the universe was not a cold expanse of matter, but a living, responsive field that listens and obeys. She decoded what many mystics hinted at but never made practical: the mechanics of how thought and word shape matter. Her insight was not wrapped in superstition, nor buried in abstract philosophy. It was operational, like discovering that the keyboard in front of you can write programs you didn't know were possible. Think about your own life. How many times have you said, I never get lucky, nothing works out for me? And how many times did those declarations quietly become true? The disturbing part is not that life is unfair. It is that your subconscious has been faithfully carrying out your commands like a tireless servant. A servant that never argues, never hesitates, never questions. Say, I can't, and your mind reorganizes your perception to make sure you are right. Say, I am unlucky, and your world reshapes itself to provide the evidence. Florence revealed three primary laws at the heart of this hidden game. The first is that words carry vibrations that reshape the matter around you. Words are not merely descriptions, they are commands. The second is that you magnetize not what you beg for, not even what you consciously desire, but what you genuinely expect deep in your bones. And the third is perhaps the most counterintuitive. Whatever you resist, you make stronger. Push against something with all your might, and you only reinforce its hold on you. Pause for a moment. Consider what this means. Right now, the dominant thought you are holding in your mind, whether it is hope, fear, or resignation, is already beginning to weave a chain of events that will manifest in the coming days or weeks. This isn't mysticism dressed in poetic language. It is the way the subconscious works, processing millions of inputs per second and orienting you toward experiences that match your inner script. Most people live their lives blind to this. They wake up, check their phone, complain about the news, worry about bills, envy those who have more, fight obstacles, and then collapse into bed, believing that life happened to them. But Florence turned that perception on its head. Life doesn't happen to you. Life happens through you. Every word, every expectation, every act of resistance or surrender, these are the moves on the board. And whether you realize it or not, you are always playing. Consider the power of expectation. You may tell yourself you want love, but if deep down you expect betrayal, you will magnetize partners who confirm that expectation. You may declare that you want financial success, but if you secretly expect scarcity, opportunities will slip by, unnoticed. The universe is not fooled by polite requests. It responds to the vibration of your genuine expectation. The story of Thomas Edison searching for the perfect filament, failing 1,000 times, is often told as a story of perseverance. But it is more than that. It is a story of expectation. He expected to succeed. He expected the solution to exist. That expectation kept him searching long after others quit. The same with Henry Ford. When the world laughed at the idea of replacing horses with cars, his expectation refused to bend. It was not naive optimism. It was inner certainty shaping outer reality. Now let's examine resistance. From childhood, you've been told to fight. Fight for survival, fight against poverty, fight disease, fight your enemies. But Florence discovered that resistance is the fuel that keeps unwanted things alive. The more you resist, the more energy you pour into the very thing you wish to dissolve. It's like shouting at the ocean tide to stop rising. You amplify what you oppose. Non-resistance, by contrast, is not weakness, it is mastery. It is not resignation, it is redirection. Think of the swimmer who exhausts themselves thrashing against the current versus the one who learns to flow with it, harnessing its strength to reach the shore. Non-resistance is active fluidity. It is saying, I acknowledge what is, but I refuse to feed it with my life force. This is the door that opens only when you stop pushing. Then comes perhaps the most underappreciated faculty we all possess, intuition. Florence described it as our direct line to infinite intelligence, the whisper before the noise, the knowing before the analysis. How many times have you felt that flash of insight, that inner signal that told you this is right, or this is wrong, only to bury it under rational doubt? And how many times did you regret ignoring it? Intuition does not shout, it whispers. It is calm, precise, without drama. Fear projects chaos. Intuition simply informs. Science today confirms what Florence intuited decades ago. The subconscious cannot tell the difference between vividly imagined experiences and actual events. Visualize something with clarity and emotion, and your brain activates the same neural pathways as if it were real. That inner rehearsal becomes an inner memory, and your nervous system begins working to make it external reality. What the ancients called faith, neuroscience calls the reticular activating system, filtering your perception toward what matches your expectation. But let's be honest, knowledge alone changes nothing. You may nod in agreement, feel inspired, even share this with a friend. But tomorrow you could wake up and slip back into the same words, the same doubts, the same careless declarations. That is why Florence insisted on practice. Small, daily, precise practices that reprogram your consciousness and bring these laws from theory into lived experience. She recommended morning declarations before the mind is cluttered with noise. Instead of reaching for your phone, you declare, "This is a day of perfect achievement. Everything that belongs to me comes under grace in perfect ways." She taught verbal fasting, going an entire day without uttering anything negative, anything limiting. At first, you'll be shocked at how much destructive speech you casually release. But soon, you'll see how powerful you are when you choose each word deliberately. She emphasized nightly visualization, reliving the day not as it happened, but as you wished it had gone. Not regret, but reprogramming, and planting tomorrow's seeds by imagining the next day's success as if it had already occurred. The subconscious accepts this as memory and begins arranging circumstances to match. It is astonishing how quickly small coincidences begin to appear, how rapidly synchronicities multiply when you practice this. There is also the law of giving, not charity in the traditional sense, but metaphysical giving. If you want love, give love. If you want recognition, recognize others. If you want prosperity, be generous, even with a little. Every act of giving creates a vacuum that the universe fills with multiplied return. Life abhors a vacuum. When you release, you make space for more to flow in. At the heart of it all is alignment, word, expectation, and emotion pointing in the same direction. If you say, "I am prosperous but feel lack," the subconscious obeys the stronger command, which is always the one drenched in emotion. That is why fear is so potent. It is an emotion-laden decree. But if you charge your affirmations with genuine feeling, with embodied visualization, you unleash irresistible creative force. Ultimately, this is not about magical thinking or bending the universe to your ego's will. It is about understanding that you are already co-creating every moment of your life, whether consciously or unconsciously. The choice is whether you will continue creating by accident or step into mastery. whether you will keep moving the pieces blindly or learn the rules and play deliberately. The final and most profound practice is meditation. When the chattering mind quiets, when resistance dissolves, when words fall away, you enter direct contact with the infinite intelligence that Florence spoke of. In that silence, old patterns release and new ones establish themselves without struggle. Meditation is not escape. It is return. Return to the source where all possibilities exist, waiting for you to choose. So I ask you, will you keep playing the game blindfolded, repeating old commands without knowing? Or will you take off the blindfold, pick up the map, and step into the authority that has been yours all along? The power has always been in your words, in your expectations, in your surrender, in your faith. The laws are constant. The board is waiting. The next move is yours.